When I was about 7, maybe 8 years old, we gathered around our TV, sit down, and to watch together this movie.
They're gathered against you, Moses. You take too much upon yourself. We will not live by your commandments. We're free.
There is no freedom without the law.
Whose law? Yours? Did you carve those tablets to become a prince over us?
Who is on the Lord's side? Let him come to me.
You haven't heard.
Gentlemen, and the people make me do.
He showed you no land flowing with milk and honey. I show you a God of gold. Come with me. Follow me.
Blasphemers, idolaters, for this you shall drink bitter waters. God has set before you this day his laws of life and good and death and evil. Those who will not live by the law shall die by the law.
That was pretty powerful stuff. At an impressionable age, 7, maybe 8 years old. That was released in 1975, that year on television. I should say it first started showing on television in 1973. The movie was released in 1956 by the classical director Cecil B. DeMille. Anyway, growing up, I really had not much experience reading the Bible. Growing up Catholic, I think by that time I'd done my first Holy Communion. Never really went in depth as to all the stories of the Bible, especially Exodus. And not coming up until right now, taking these classes here at Azusa Pacific University. What I wanted to say is that in reading our books in this class and diving deeper into the Bible, I came across the story of the golden calf, taken right from the good book. And when it came down to that scene in the Bible as we were reading, and then coming upon and reading about how Moses called for those who are with him to come by him, stand at his side, in which the Levites responded, joining him. And that's when Moses came down with the order, take the sword by your side, and proceed to take down brothers, neighbors, sons, and friends. That disturbed me a little bit. I had no idea that happened in the Bible. As I said, that only happened one way, and that was the way of the movie. God's wrath through Moses came about with the earth opening up and swallowing those who were the idolaters. That's how I saw it all these years. I'm 48 years old now, and I just came upon the truth, and I was a little disturbed. I was not aware that Moses had that much power to command, and I did not know that he would call upon the Levites, where he descended from, to carry out that kind of justice in order to appease God. I did not know that 3,000 or so people died because of that proclamation from him. So I found myself wondering, why would he say something like this? Why would that be enough to cause that much death among his own people? And I found myself a little conflicted at that point. I didn't know where to go from there, so I kept reading a little bit further. I tried to do a little more research, try to understand more, and I guess I can see that Moses had a purpose, and he thought best that this would be the only way to appease God, because God also saw that they were idolizing the golden calf, because they had to go and ask Aaron, please give us something. They needed something to worship. Moses had been gone for a long time up on the mountain, and they needed something. I guess Aaron gave in, decided to construct the golden calf, albeit made from gold, derived from all the Israelites who gave as their contribution to this. Again, the golden calf was created. That appeased them for the moment. They had a big party celebration. Unfortunately, that's about the time Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the commandments in his hand. I continued doing some research on this topic. I read what I could about the Levites, their tribe, their descendancy, and I had to dig a little further, and I came upon this book at the library, the Brick Bible, the Old Testament, Lego bricks, giving you a pictorial of Exodus. So I quickly turned to that passage of the Bible here in the Brick Bible. And in the Brick Bible, they cover everything using Lego bricks. Not sponsored by the Lego Corporation. It says, he threw down the tablets from the hands, swashing them at the base of the mountain. He took the calf they had made and burnt it with fire. And he ground it into powder. Then he scattered the powder on the water and made the Israelites drink it. When Moses saw that the people were out of control, he stood at the entrance of the camp and said, whoever is for Yahweh, come to me. All those from the tribe of Levi gathered to him, and Moses said to them, each of you take your sword and go up and down the camp from gate to gate, slaughtering your brothers, your friends, and your neighbors. The Levites did as ordered. I don't know if you can see that. Death and destruction. And about 3,000 of the people were killed that day. And this book goes so far as to show Levite characters and the punishment they dealt out. This is a book with Lego characters. I used to love Lego as a kid, and I'm kind of glad I never saw this as a kid. Kind of really glad my parents decided maybe to not dig this book up, knowing how much I liked Lego bricks at the time, and maybe show me something like this as a kid. This might have really scarred me as a kid growing up. I'm not sure. But I just thought it was interesting. I just wanted to share it with everyone and say, hey, look, this is out there. And it really paints a picture of that moment in time and how justice was handed out. Okay, so another book I wanted to share on this topic. The Good Book by David Plotz. The bizarre, hilarious, disturbing, marvelous, and inspiring things I learned, when I read every single word of the Bible. I immediately went to Exodus, and I wanted to see what this gentleman came up with and his description of it. And I'll share it with you now. I'll make it fast. Moses is furious with the people, but he also knows he must protect them from God, who's in a kill them all, let me sort them out mood. God announces that he's going to destroy his stiff-necked people because of the calf. Moses gets wily. He cannily exploits the Lord's distaste for the Egyptians, telling God, "Let not the Egyptians say, it was with evil intent that he delivered them, only to kill them off in the mountains and annihilate them from the face of the earth. Turn from your blazing anger and renounce the plans to punish your people." Moses persuades the Lord to hold his fire. To appease him, Moses has the Levites, the only tribe that remained loyal during the debacle of the calf, execute 3,000 idolaters, brother, neighbor, and kin. But what happens to Moses' own brother, the ringleader? Nothing. Aaron doesn't even get his wrist slapped. So the Israelites are saved again by God's mercy. Still, I can't help thinking that the political lesson of the golden calf is deeply disturbing. The story suggests that without an authoritarian leader like Moses, the Israelites will easily abandon God. Without a prophet and a dictator, our faith will fail. That brings up an interesting point. Did the Lord intend to have Moses be that authoritarian leader to deal out the punishment as he saw fit? I would have thought Moses would have asked for permission from God to deal out that kind of justice. I'm sorry, but that just seemed very severe, and I hate to keep dwelling on it. It's just that it affected me so much, and still does up until this point. Kind of trying to find a way to accept it and believe that it was, for the greater good. I want to go ahead and conclude as to how I see this all relates to me in my world as I go forward from this class. I know I'm going to keep on reading more right about now, and I'm probably going to finish this book from cover to cover, because David Plotz covers everything from Genesis into the resurrection. So I kind of want to get his take, maybe develop my own opinions. But from what I take from this chapter in the Bible, I guess it goes to say that if you're chosen, by God to be the one to carry out freeing your people from slavery, you have to trust in God. If you have that trust, maybe you'll be, made whole. Maybe you'll be rewarded. I think Moses thought he was going to be rewarded, leading his people to that land of milk and honey, only to be brought to the end and being shown where the land of milk and honey was to be, but in the end, not being allowed to set foot in it. So the final lesson is to go with your gut. Never sway from what your beliefs are. Stay true to the Lord, and just have that faith. Have that faith in God as you go forward in life. At this point, I think I'll do my best to follow the Ten Commandments. We have God's covenant to look up to. For the most part, I believe I have. Probably will continue to do so going forward. 3 children to raise, so I want to give him good examples from here on, as I have. I want them to be faithful as well. Hopefully seeing me continue these courses, maybe we'll get them to have more interest in this subject. maybe look into God and religion